figured out clues and solved mysteries, as well as kicking cat butts. But
All right. Welcome back to J&R Books. Yes, we have gone online, and Ryan, you can turn your chair around to show your marvelous face to the audience.
well.
All right, so today we're going to be discussing the series Geronimo Stilton, the one with the scaredy cat mouse. I suppose I should say scaredy mouse, but it doesn't make sense. But yeah, welcome. Ryan, if you can just tell us a little bit about the book and series itself.
So, Geronimo Stilton is a mouse, I think. And basically, he's the editor of like a famous magazine in the story. And he's a self-described quote-unquote wussy. Because like he's always like really afraid of doing anything at all. Which is quite ironic because he keeps getting caught up in these adventures, right? And he also has like a very fearless sister who's also an adventurer, and sometimes like they go off to fantasy kingdoms together.
Right. So yeah, I think the reason why readers find Geronimo Stilton so appealing to read is that, you know, like normally in adventure books, right, they expect this heroic character or very daring character, right, Ryan? Who's like this hero who's gonna be like, da-da-da-da, I'm Superman, I'm gonna save this kingdom or whatever. But then, like, Geronimo Stilton is scared, right? He's like very realistic in a way, comparing to humans. It's not like a fantasy book, even though he's a mouse, of course. Like, he's a coward, and I think that kind of relates to people and makes the kind of series much more quote-unquote relatable, even though it's a fantasy series, right?
Yeah. Even though he's a mouse
Right.
that writes newspapers.
They call the Rodent Gazette, by the way.
Yeah. I remember when I was really young and read this book, I liked like on each page there's always like these like the words, some of the adjectives are like drawn out like really cool. Like let me see if I can find some. Like this, like sparkled.
Oh yeah.
Is like, so I think it's pretty cool. And when I was like a kid, I was like, ooh, word is written nicely, therefore I read it. So I think, yeah, it's a really creative book, and I really like it a lot.
Right. It's like in a way a very immersive reading experience, since like all these adjectives, especially or verbs, it's like written as if it's the word itself. Like the word sparkle was like sparkling, right? And if I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure there was like a lot of mouse and cat puns in like the book. I can't remember all of them, but I'm pretty sure like some expressions and verbs were converted into like the mice sense. So that was pretty funny as well, right? It's pretty funny like how there was this kind of mice culture of cheese and like being scared of cats, right? Which is pretty fun.
I remember in like the time traveling series, there are these bandit cat looking things.
Yes.
And yeah, they were the main villains.
Right, the comic. But then again, like in the main series, there's also a book where like they visit a haunted house, and then apparently it was like occupied by cats, but then they turned up to be like good cats, and they become friends with the baby cats or whatever. I remember that as well. It was like the third book or whatever, very, very early on in the series.
Yeah, like in one of the time traveling ones where they time travel back to like Cleopatra's time period.
Yeah.
I remember I really liked that book because the plot was interesting, and it was kind of like a detective series because like they figured out clues and solved mysteries, as well as kicking cat butts. But
All right, man. Like there's a lot of diverse series within the Geronimo Stilton universe. It's like the main series, the original one, and then after that it's a Fantasy Kingdom series, and there's time traveling comic series. There's a lot, right? There is a lot. And why do you think it's so popular?
Like what you said before, he's just really relatable.
Right. You know, and
Instead of being like an awesome hero, he's like your next door neighbor. And I feel like that's what makes this book like, I mean, it's not the only reason, but I still think it's like, well, it's good to have a relatable character. Also, I think it quite fits like with the whole like mouse thing, right? Because if someone calls you a mouse, then they're probably referring to the fact that either one, you're shy, or like you're you come out across like Geronimo Stilton does.
Right. I mean, like, yeah, this is pretty random, but like, people don't call you a mouse just because you like cheese, right? It's more. It's funny that it's only more the introverted stereotype. But let's talk about Thea Stilton, Geronimo Stilton's sister, the complete opposite personality of Geronimo. And I'm pretty sure like Geronimo's grandfather is also like a similar personality as Thea, and like basically kind of always bullies and hates Geronimo Stilton, and always like likes and favors Thea instead. And like in the first book, on Geronimo Stilton's very first adventure, it was actually Thea who dragged him along to that as well. So what do you think is the role of Thea Stilton, his very inverse sister in the series, Ryan? What do you think?
I think Thea Stilton is like the exact opposite as Geronimo. So instead of being like a quote unquote intelligible mouse that doesn't like doing adventures, she's more, I think, brave and like brash, and she goes on like, and she's not really scared of anything, unlike her brother. And then the grandfather that you mentioned, right? I'm pretty sure in the book, he bullied Geronimo Stilton a lot.
Yeah, he did.
So he's basically, and he was pretty strict. I mean, not strict, but mean. Like, yeah. And I always felt it was kind of unjust, like, due to him.
Yeah, like just like look at the character development. Geronimo Stilton is like wearing a suit, right? Always the same thing. And then Thea's like wearing a leather jacket, riding around on motorcycles and motorbikes all the time. And like Geronimo Stilton has these little glasses and like tie, and it's very contrasting characters. And if you just look at the appearance and clothing too, it's like Geronimo Stilton has a more typical kind of appearance than Thea, right? Who is more like very brave, silver fur, and so on. Right, everyone. Ryan's gone to get another Geronimo Stilton book. It's very interesting because if you look at the author, like you cannot tell who wrote Geronimo Stilton just by looking at the book, because like it literally says Geronimo Stilton, written by Geronimo Stilton, right?
It looks like Geronimo Stilton wrote the book.
Yeah, it's kind of like a very interesting pen name the author chose for the book, because like her real name is like Elizabeth something Dami, I'm pretty sure, Italian. And like how she made her pen name like as a protagonist who tends to write these magazines and newspapers makes it really realistic, and kind of seems like this whole new world is real in a way, right? What do you think?
Like the first thing I noticed when I tried to find the author's name, I couldn't really find it because it said Scholastic and Geronimo Stilton, but I couldn't find the author's name at all.
Right. You have to like search Google Doc to find her name.
Wow. And what was your question again?
So what do you think about like how the author used the pen name, like the protagonist's name, as the author?
Well, the fact that it makes me think it's like the book, Geronimo Stilton's like the thing he wrote, because he's like the editor, right, of the newspaper. So maybe like he writes in his diary or journal, and this is like what comes out.
Right. It makes it seem much more realistic and hyper realistic in a way that or kind of reading an autobiography in a way as well. You know what I mean? But yeah, wrapping up, Ryan, in conclusion, what would you rate this series in terms of like children's books?
Well, I haven't read it in a long time, so you can take what I say for like a grain of salt. But I think I rate the whole series 8 bits of cheese out of 10.
Okay, that's pretty special. Okay.
For reference, Captain Underpants was 9 underwear out of 10.
But different scaling, underwears and cheese. But yeah, it's I agree with Ryan. It's like 8 out of 10. Very, very, very creative book in a way that the author created a whole entire universe for mice, and we really recommend it strongly for children, like around the age of what, 4th grade, 3rd grade.
Yeah, that's what I read the series.
Yeah, it's very, very accessible in a way. It's a lot of books. You can just pick one up, like even ebooks or whatever, and it's really quite creative and generally an awesome book in the series, right?
Yeah, and it was really entertaining, and the artwork also is like, it's pretty good.
Right, it really is, right?
It's not like Diary of the Wimpy Kid, like stick man figures. It's more detailed, and it's also pretty colorful.
Yeah, it is really colorful, and just, the book seems so alive, right? That's what makes it seem so energetic and appealing at the same time. You know? Right.
Okay, before we end today's video,
Ryan has a mouse joke for you. Apparently, this is a tradition now. Like, Ryan has to tell one dad joke every single time we have a video.
Okay, so what do you call a group of Middle Eastern mice? United Arab Emirates.
Steven, insert laughing audience effect one more time, please.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Yeah, that's how our video is going to come to an end for today. We hope you enjoy, and stay tuned for our next one. And J&R Books out.